What is up, everybody, and welcome to the first ever Dudes Who Bet Sports.
So you want to bet sports, but you need some advice on how to cash in big at a heck of a price. Well, if you want enough money to line your shorts, then you're in the right place. This is Dudes Who Bet Sports. Dudes Who Bet Sports, it's your favorite show. Dudes Who Bet Sports, where degenerates go. Dudes Who Bet Sports, time to change your approach with Aaron Halterman and his father, the coach. Let's ride.
Well, the Associated Press is full of shit.
All right, guys, we're back, and it's a big-time show. If you follow us all year long, we have really covered college football as best we can, and we're going to talk about the two playoff games today, as well as the New Year's Day games, and also the NFL. So a big-time show today, a lot of handicapping to do. Before we start, Papa Dude, how happy are we today after the big OU win last night?
Well, it was a trip down memory lane. Didn't you think?
It really was, yeah.
Yeah, that was the Bob Stoops show last night. And for those of us that went through that period when he came and revitalized Oklahoma football to what it is now, that was just a trip down memory lane. It was like old times. A different Bob Stoops. I wish he could have been this way when he was the head coach. And, of course, he doesn't have any pressure on him or anything like that. This was a one-game shot, but what a different personality has come out in him. Most people that know him have said that's the way he is. But he's so guarded with the media, but just very relaxed. It was just a fun time to watch. Fun thing.
It was so much fun to watch him back over there. And it was important that they played well and won, and they did. They played an Oregon team that lost their coach, and not only that, lost a bunch of players. I'll give credit to the Oregon coaching staff that was still there. They tried, and they gave effort where Florida, a team we played last year, gave no effort when they kind of lost their players. So give them credit for that, but Bob Stoops and OU definitely, just like I said, it almost felt like we were in a bizarro world last night. It's just like I can't believe it. I didn't want that game to be over with. It was so much fun, especially when it was 30-3 at the half, and I was like, as much I like Brent Venables, send him back. Let's just hire Bob, and as Dennis says, just pay Bob everything and get him back. But can confirm that's not going to happen. Bob is heading to the golf course today, he said so.
Yeah, I think Bob thoroughly enjoyed this last month.
Yep.
And being back as a celebrity again, which he never left that, but in the state of Oklahoma, he didn't. I think he did. I think he thoroughly enjoyed all of it. I think he definitely misses some of it. When you've been at that level, you've got it inside you. You just do. But I do think he's realistic, and I don't think he wants to recruit. And I don't think he wants to kiss these kids' ass like you have to do now. I mean, it's even worse than it was back when he coached, and he kissed a lot of ass. He kissed a lot of ass then. So I don't think he wants to do that. But I think if any man deserves what happened last night, it's him. He didn't have to come in and take care of all this, but he did, and he didn't want to be. He's just a special person. Oklahoma, and he definitely loves the Oklahoma program, and it was pretty cool how that all played out. Now, I'm a little different than you. I wanted that game to end because we were back to playing like shit in the second half, and I was pretty sick of it, the way the defense played.
Yeah.
But another thing that you got to give the assistant coaches a ton of credit, especially the ones who are out the door that stayed and helped this team win. That shows a lot of just a great thing in these three guys that are out the door that stayed. They already have jobs at other schools, but they stayed, and the Oregon coaches too.
Yeah,
one of them is going to be a head coach at Akron. He stayed. You got to take your hat off to those guys. It shows you what they think about these kids.
Yep.
I thought that was really good. And the Oklahoma assistant coaches that stayed are going to be in the program did a great job last night. So that's kind of what college athletics is about.
I thought it was interesting. We'd heard all week, or not all week, all for 2-3 weeks, and how fired up everybody was to play for Bob, and obviously the crowd, the ones that support the program from the outside were extremely excited. But I was skeptical. I don't know about you, but I was skeptical. It's like, do these players really care about that? And then they came out and played like that, and it's like, that's cool. Like that kind of showed me, yeah, they did care about that. Yeah. They did care to get him a win in that game, and they played hard, and they probably played harder than they played all year last night. Yeah. And I don't really know if that's saying much, though, because other than the second half of the Texas game, I don't think you played hard all year. So.
No, they didn't. It was a weird year, and there's so much speculation about what happened through this year, and we'll find out one of these days. And it was really good. It was just different, seeing them play so hard, and the play calling was so different last night. This was the Oklahoma. Now I know Oregon was decimated with injuries on defense. They really were. They had most of their offense, I think, but defensively they were hurting. But OU, the plays they ran last night are what they do.
Yeah,
and that was missing from the Oklahoma offense the last month of the year.
I'm just not a guy that criticizes play calling all that much, unless it's obvious. Like the Browns last week not having Nick Chubb in the game, that's just obvious. I'm going to call that out. But, it was obvious OU, the play calling was just weird the last 6 weeks of the year. And like I said, last night we got back to throwing short passes, getting the quarterback comfortable before asking him to do too much, running the ball. Stuff we've done for years, and all of a sudden it disappeared this year. So
yeah, it did. Getting the receivers out in space, like they've done in the past. They were almost impossible to stop. In fact, they wouldn't have been stopped if they could keep from holding. They had so many holding penalties that really hurt them. And another thing, where has number 14 been?
Yeah,
the guy is obviously a stud.
Yeah.
And he caught one ball all year? I mean, that's a big mystery. And Marcus Major, why has he not been playing? You don't just start this. I mean, they didn't practice that much bowl games. They're saying, well, all these bowl practices, bullshit. They didn't practice more than 7 or 8 times.
Yeah, I know.
Why isn't this guy playing? I don't understand. I mean,
honestly, I think they lost some guys on the transfer portal that they probably needed to lose that really weren't doing a whole lot. And it kind of gave those guys a chance to play last night. Yeah. A few of the opt-outs I wish they had. I think that would have helped their defense tremendously.
Oh, yeah, that they were hurt. That's another thing. They keep talking about Oregon losing people. Oklahoma lost their 4 best defensive players.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's and Oregon's losses were mostly on the defense as well. And that's why I think you saw the kind of game you did. Yeah. But it was a great game. I think OU got a bright future. I think Oregon, I think they got a good coach coming in as well. So I think those are 2 teams to watch for next year. For sure. All right. Before we get going, I want to mention Sydney. She's watching this afternoon, and she mentioned she's going to go to Frisco, Texas to watch North Dakota State. So that's awesome.
Yeah, Sydney, we've seen North Dakota State way back when they were D2.
Yep.
What was that coach's name? Rocky something.
Rocky Hager was the head coach. Yep.
I don't know whether you're old enough or I don't even know who you are, Cindy. I don't know how old you are, but I don't know if you remember him or not. But they came to Pittsburgh, Kansas, and Aaron and I both will say that's maybe one of the best games we've ever seen.
Yep.
And I always root for them.
Yep.
I've always liked them.
Yep.
And we don't talk about this level of football, but how many games have they won over the last 10 years? It's an unbelievable thing that they are in this situation they're in right now. Is this the championship? I guess it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you may fill us in there, Cindy. How many national championships have they got?
I see. I'm trying to think. They've won so many in a row.
Here we go.
Let's see who they're playing. They're going to play Montana State on January 8th for the championship there. So there you go. I've got that pulled up on the screen now. 13-1 this year for North Dakota State. Yeah, I mean, and they obviously, they beat Division I teams before. It's unbelievable what they've done. So
we have they're fun to watch. They're the same every year.
Yep.
Find a quarterback that runs the option and can throw the ball.
Yep.
And they're very fundamental. It doesn't matter who's coaching them because they go through coaches. I mean,
So well, because their coaches get hired by bigger schools. So,
it's an amazing, amazing story.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. We're going to do the January 1 games first. We're going to rapid fire those, and then we'll get in and break down the two big college football playoff games before getting to the NFL. Quick mention: South Carolina up over North Carolina, 25-13 at the half at the Duke's Mayo Bowl. So pretty good game going on there. As we scroll down, and geez, we've got to go way down. I forget. There's been so many games now. All right, let's start off on New Year's Day. We'll kick it off with the Outback Bowl. I think this is going to be a good one, and Vegas agrees. Arkansas and Penn State. Arkansas now a 2-point favorite. This has been 1 or 2 points the whole time. Both teams, fairly. I know Arkansas lost the wide receiver. He's going to opt out, but both teams fairly strong, I think, from that regard. What do you think, Razorbacks or Nittany Lions?
Well, before we get started, these next 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and you can throw in the Monday night game too. If you're a football fan, can it get any better?
Nope.
In these next 3 days?
Nope.
This is the pinnacle of it all. In my opinion, and I'm a college football guy, a New Year's Day is the best. It's the best day of the year for me.
Yeah.
And we are so lucky here. It's going to be colder than hell.
Yeah.
Or getting cold on Saturday. So it's easy to watch football when it's freezing cold outside, don't you think?
Oh, it's easy for me when it's 100 degrees outside.
Well, it's not as easy for me. And then Sunday's going to be cold. So I'm in heaven. Now, my wife is not happy. But anyway, I don't know about you, Aaron, but I don't like these playoff games on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
It's not that we go party, because we don't. We're too old. But we do like to go out and eat somewhere early on New Year's Eve. And I don't like to be out late on New Year's Eve because I usually, I live in a rural area, so I have to drive somewhere to find a place nice.
Yeah.
I like driving on that interstate or
no.
on New Year's Eve. I just don't. And there's too many people that could be drunk or whatever. So what I'm getting at is I feel like I'm obligated to Sandy tomorrow to miss one of these playoff games. And I hate that because these are the pinnacle of the whole thing that, you work on all year long.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty much obligated that I'm probably going to miss the first game is what I'm getting at, which I don't know. Of the two, I think I don't know. I don't want to miss either one of them, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to. I got to keep her happy,
Yeah.
So, then that away, here's what you got to do. That leaves me a little leeway on New Year's Day to where I can sit on my ass all day and watch those games if I take her out. And not to be anywhere fancy. We don't have to go anywhere fancy, but that's my plan. And you know what? I just gave away my damn plan because she's probably listening to this.
Yes, exactly.
But anyway, these 5 games on New Year's Day, I believe, are the hardest ones I've ever had to try to decide what to bet on.
Yeah.
They're evenly matched. They're great games. Every single one of them are really good. So the first one. Well, let's see. They're 2-point favorites now. Cindy put up the North Dakota State record, 127-8 since 2011. Wow. Try that on for size, Alabama.
That's incredible.
You lose 8 games in 11 years.
That's incredible.
That is. And they play in a very difficult conference, too.
Oh, they do. Yeah. It's not easy.
Wow. Anyway, I'd like to go to Frisco and watch them, to be honest. Okay, back to this. I think Arkansas will have the most motivation. I think they will be very emotional because this is a big-name team they're playing. I don't think Penn State's real good. I don't know how good Arkansas is either. But I'm going to play the emotional edge on this. I know they're going to be ready. I know they will. Not sure about Penn State. I like the line, 2 points. You pick whichever team you want. If you're going to bet the spread, you're probably going to cover. So I'm going to go Arkansas to cover.
I think Arkansas is a little bit better. I think that's what it comes down to here. The big key is going to be, can Penn State move the ball enough? That's been their trouble all year. I expect a low-scoring game. I think it goes under that 48 total that it is right now. But I'm with you. I'm going to go Arkansas. We touched about it a little bit on Tuesday that the SEC has been struggling in bowls. They're 0-4, but really kind of their 4 weaker teams have played.
Yes.
Right now, we mentioned just a minute ago, and the reason why I did was to bring it up. South Carolina, an SEC team, is ahead, so they could be 1-4 here in about an hour or two. I'm not concerned about the SEC bowl record just yet. I think Arkansas will have all the motivation, like you said. This is great for Arkansas, and Penn State had much higher hopes than this. That's not an insult of Arkansas. That's just the reality of the situation. If you would have said to Arkansas fans, you're going to go 8-4 and you're going to go to the Outback Bowl before the season started, they would have done a backflip. If you tell Penn State you're going to be 7-5 in the Outback Bowl, they would have been upset. So
absolutely,
yeah, I'm going Arkansas minus the 2 points here. Like I said, I think the motivation will be a factor. All right, let's go to another one. Like you said, these are great games.
Yes, they are.
The Fiesta Bowl this year is a fantastic game. Oklahoma State and Notre Dame. Notre Dame, a 2-point favorite in this game, playing without Brian Kelly, but they hired a guy that the team seems to be, really rallied around. The fan base seems to be rallied around. Guy seems to be similar to the Oklahoma situation. Of course, not exactly the same, but similar in the fact that everybody seems to be on the same page and everybody seems motivated and locked in for this game here against Oklahoma State. That being said, what's your thoughts on this one?
Boy, this is another one. I've gone round and round on it. I don't think Notre Dame quite gets the credit that most people don't look at this as a very good Notre Dame team, and I guess it's because their schedule wasn't real good, but they are 11-1, and they're Notre Dame. And I was listening to some guys on Oklahoma, the radio station yesterday, and they were knocking Notre Dame's quarterback. What's wrong with him? I think he's had a pretty good season. I looked up his stats. Pretty good. Mm-hmm. You got a team, you got Notre Dame. Okay. So we all know what they are. They're a blue blood. They're used to playing big games. And then you got Oklahoma State. That's the direct opposite. They're not used to this kind of situation. They choked in the Big 12 championship game. Will they choke again? I think they might be better than the Irish, but the key to Oklahoma State is simply this: their quarterback. He's the key. If he didn't turn the ball over, but that's a big if. Mm-hmm. If he doesn't, I think they win, but I can't trust him. He turned it over in the Big 12 championship game. I like Mike Gundy as a coach. I think he's done a hell of a job at Oklahoma State, maybe the most underrated job in the country, what he's done down there. But in big games, he does some silly stuff. So for those reasons, I'm taking Notre Dame because I just think they're used to playing in these big games, and I think they'll pull this out.
Yeah, 100%. I'm taking Notre Dame as well. I think Oklahoma State kind of showed you. Now, let's not forget, this is a team that had a chance to go to the college football playoff. Yeah. They just had to beat Baylor. And not that Baylor's a bad team. I think they're decent. But I think Notre Dame probably a little bit better than Baylor. So I'm going to go Notre Dame minus the 2 here. Like I said, I think the experience pays off. And I like the fact that, hey, they're together. I know they lost the coach, but I think everybody's kind of rallied. Seems very similar to Oklahoma situation in that regard. All right, let's move on to the next one, the Citrus Bowl, another really good game between Iowa and Kentucky. Kentucky comes in a 3-point favorite. These two teams are really similar. I mean, the way they win games, it's almost exactly the same. Like I said, Kentucky, the 3-point favorite. Do they cover in this situation?
This is another one that's really tough. It's always hard to pick Iowa. When you look at their statistics and how awful they are on offense, and they are awful.
Yeah.
But they're 10-3. And they, I believe, have a 24-8 edge in turnover margin. That's the whole key with them. If they can get some turnovers, that 3 points doesn't mean anything. It just doesn't. That's just how they win. And obviously they get turnovers. So that's the key. Kentucky turns it over some. Kentucky loses games they shouldn't lose, but they're pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty darn good. I think they're fourth or fifth best team in the SEC. They've won some big games. I think they're better than Iowa. I think they have a better offense than Iowa. And I'm going to go with them. 3's not that much. So if they can stay turnover free and win the turnover margin, I think they cover that easy.
Yeah, I think Kentucky is just a better team, period. I think Iowa very fortunate to be where they are at 10-3. We went over that a lot. I think Kentucky's just a little bit better team. I'm a little worried, Iowa, they've been here before.
They
playing
have.
on a New Year's Day game, and
They
Kentucky
play
really
well,
hasn't.
too.
What's
they
that?
play well down there. They play well.
They've beaten better SEC opponents in the past.
They have.
In these types of game, whether it be the Outback or the Citrus. I still think Kentucky's a better team. I think the quarterback's a little bit better. That's the biggest difference to me this year for this Kentucky team. Their quarterback was a little bit more productive than what they usually have. So I think they end the season with a win here. I win Kentucky minus the 3 on that one. All right, another big game in the Rose Bowl, Utah and Ohio State. This line down to 4. Ohio State a 4-point favorite here. They've had some opt-outs. They seem to kind of, I don't know, disinterested is the right word, but I don't think they're as into this game as Utah is, and I think that could make a big difference. Still, though, 4 points, not a lot. So does Ohio State cover?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. We know Utah is going to be ready. Why would they not?
Yeah.
This might be the biggest win in their history if they can win this. First time they've ever been to the Rose Bowl. They're on a roll. They're playing a big-name school. This is a program-defining moment for them.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be sky high. Ohio State, do you really think they want to be there? I don't know. I mean, it's the Rose Bowl. That means something if you're in the Big Ten or the Pac-12. That means, it's not a bad year if you go to the Rose Bowl. That's a pretty big deal. I'm not high on Ohio State. I haven't been all year. They are terrible up front against the run.
Mm-hmm.
And Utah runs the ball pretty well. But they're in the Pac-10 or 12. They're in the Pac-12. How good are they? I don't know. That's what scares me. And Ohio State's got big play capabilities. I'm going to take Ohio State, but I would not bet a penny on this game. I'm going to root my ass off for Utah. I'll tell you that.
I feel like if you're going to make a substantial wager, I kind of like the 64 points. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of points for this game. I think under 64 is the wager. I don't really know how good either one of these teams are. I think Ohio State is good enough to beat Utah. I think they should have the better players. And if they're ready, I think they'll do it. But they have not looked that great all year, really. And I guess that's not really fair. At times they have, and at times they haven't. They've kind of been inconsistent. Utah, like I said, they're definitely on a roll. But we saw Oregon last night. We've seen some of these teams. That Pac-12 is not very good, and now they're going to take on Ohio State team we know is talented. That's not debatable. So I'm going to take the Buckeyes. At 6.5, I went Utah. At 4, I'll take the Buckeyes. I just think that's not enough points to really feel confident in Utah. And Dennis says Utah is going to fight. I think both teams have to use their top weapons, and that's offense. I do like just the over 32.5 for the first half. So I don't know. I think here's what I'll say. If the game goes over, I think Ohio State wins.
Oh, I definitely agree.
For Utah to win or keep it to where they cover, that line's going to have to be under the 64. I think they're going to have to win more of a defensive type of game.
I agree.
Yeah,
and I'm going to say something really stupid here.
Okay.
I think Ryan Day at Ohio State is a lot like Lincoln Riley. I think the Buckeyes are soft. I really do. They have been bad on defense the last 2 years.
I was going to say, show me something that disputes that, right? they kind of have. They're still very, very good, but they're it's like Riley. Each year they're getting farther away from that goal that a team like Ohio State has.
You just look at the 2 games they lost. They got smashed in the mouth by Oregon. Now, Oregon was healthy then. Well, they weren't either. They didn't have their great defensive player.
Yeah.
They kicked them. And Michigan physically whipped their ass. And that didn't used to happen at Ohio State.
Yep.
So I think they're soft. That's why I think, you know what? I'm going to change my pick.
Yeah.
I'm changing it because I just saw what I wrote down. I picked Utah. I took Utah on the points. I just now saw that. So I've been round and round on this one. I do think Ohio State's better. They have better players, but I think they're soft. And I think if Utah smacks them around, and by the way, I saw Nebraska smack them around too.
Yeah, they could have lost to Nebraska.
They could have.
Yeah.
You got to eliminate the big play. You cannot let Stroud hit those receivers and get 70-yard bombs on you. If you can do that, you can beat them. So I don't like Ohio State. I'm changing my pick. I'm going with Utah.
All right. Well, that's a good segue to the last one on January 1st, and that is the Sugar Bowl between Baylor and Ole Miss. Right now, Ole Miss is a 1.5-point favorite. Both these teams have been favored at different points during the last 2.5 weeks. I got to tell you, this is the one I debated on forever. I thought this was the hardest game all year to pick a side. And you know, sometimes you get in a game like that, you pick a side that works out. I mean, you still got a 50-50 shot, but trying to decide what to do here, to me, it's a clash of styles. It's what style wins out. You got Ole Miss, who's lost some coaches, but Levy, the offensive coordinator, is coming back for this game. So maybe that won't be that big of a factor. Where did you land on this one?
I am absolutely in agreement with you. I have no idea, to be honest. I 1 minute I think I like Mississippi. Next minute I like Baylor. There's nothing in the lines I like except the point spread. You know, it's 1.5 points, so you kind of go, you know, whoever you pick, if they win, you're going to cover. I think both teams are absolutely thrilled to be there.
Yeah, it's a huge game for both of them. So motivation's not going to be a factor one way or the other.
I mean, Mississippi, I looked it up. You know, between 1960 and 1970, Mississippi played in 6 Sugar Bowls.
Wow.
They've played in 1 since. And I didn't think they had played in any. But in 2016, I think that's when Freeze was down there cheating.
Yep.
Right? They had that really good team.
Yep.
They played in 2016. So they've played in the Sugar Bowl once in the last 52 years.
Amazing.
When they used to play in it quite often. So they are thrilled to be back. I bet you there's 55,000 Ole Miss fans in New Orleans. There may be more than that.
Yeah.
So this is what finally swung me. They're going to have the home field because Baylor, they're one of those teams. They don't travel very well, you know. So that's all I'm going on is the home field. I think they're going to have it. Both teams are motivated. I won't be surprised what happens in this one either way. So I'm going to take Mississippi because of that.
Dennis is with us. He doesn't want to touch this game. I understand why I took Mississippi because I just feel like, you know, I don't know about you, but I try to visualize, just like in horse racing, I try to visualize how I think the race will lay out, how it'll be run, you know, the pace dynamics and who's coming from where. Well, in sports handicapping, same thing. It's lay out, okay, visualize how this game's going to go. To me, I see this being kind of a struggle, but then in the end, the team that has the most explosive players on offense will make a play and will break the game open and get the win. And I think that is most likely going to be Mississippi. Yeah. When you looked at the Big 12 championship game and you looked when Baylor beat Oklahoma, we didn't have anybody make an explosive play and you know, whether it be play calling or whatever. And then Oklahoma State just doesn't have that explosive offense. I feel like Mississippi gets kind of a late score, kind of an uncharacteristic like pass that Baylor gives up and Mississippi wins it by like 7-10, something like that. So I did go Mississippi. I just think they're a little bit better offensively. And Baylor's the type of team that no matter who they play, they're not going to score a ton. And I think that favors Ole Miss. So
I do too.
I will go with this. All right.
I'll say this. Baylor is tough.
They are, and they're going to have to be able to hang with them.
Right.
But I think if they can keep it close, keep it in the ball game, not get blown off the ball, stuff like that, I think they'll beat them eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right. The main event is here. We got college football playoff game number 1, and both these games are really intriguing for different reasons. Here we have Cincinnati and Alabama in the Cotton Bowl down in Dallas. Listen, Cincinnati is a 13.5-point underdog, despite being the only undefeated team in the country right now. Alabama, like I said, 13.5-point favorite. Got the big upset win over Georgia in the SEC championship game that got him into this. Not only gets him into it, makes him the number 1 seed. I think it's deserving. What Alabama team shows up? The team that beat Georgia or the team that almost lost to people like Florida, people like Arkansas, should have lost to Auburn? What do you think happens in this one?
This is what makes sports so interesting. The week before the SEC championship game, Alabama couldn't score. They had 3 points and got lucky to get to 10 against a 6-6, now a 6-7 Auburn team.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go to the SEC championship game against the best defense we've seen in a long time and torch them for 41 points. So figure it out. You can't. There's just not an explanation for this.
No.
So you got David against Goliath in this game. And Nick Saban says they're David.
Yeah, it's crazy. They're the underdog, according to Nick Saban.
That's just absolutely hilarious. So I've seen this analyzed by guys, for the past week on ESPN. There's one thing Cincinnati's got, and that's a really good secondary, and they're going to have to play great.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. You've got to keep Bryce Young from big plays.
Yeah.
Because that's how they beat Georgia. They torched them. Do they have the athletes? I don't think they have as many as Alabama, but they do have quality. They're not your ordinary group of 5 team. They got some studs. They're going to be playing in the NFL. Their quarterback's not flashy, but he doesn't make mistakes. He's very, very consistent. 13.5. Wow. I could see Alabama getting up on him, and then maybe the doubt starts to creep into the Bearcats. Oh, God, we don't belong here.
Yeah.
If they can keep it close for the first half, I think they got a shot in this one. I don't know whether they can win. Okay. So I took, let's see what I got here. I don't like that 13.5, and I know you're going to go against that.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama's our team total is 35.5. I'm going to go under that. I like that one. I don't know they scored 36 on Cincinnati. If they do, I think they're going to win by a comfortable margin. That's what I'm going to do.
Well, I'm just going to lay it out to you as simple as I can lay it out to you. Do you think Cincinnati is better than Florida?
Definitely.
Do you think they're better?
I know where you're going.
Do you think they're better than Texas A&M?
Oh yeah.
Do you think they're better than LSU?
Sure.
Do you think they're better than Arkansas?
Yes.
Do you think they're better than Auburn?
Well, yes.
Well, all those teams played Alabama closer than 13.5 points this season.
I will say this. I think they might be the 3rd best team in the SEC.
I
Maybe
agree.
the 2nd.
Sydney just said it. I agree. At the end of the day, do I think Cincinnati's going to beat Alabama? I don't, and I can't get there. But do I think they're going to play them closer than 13.5? I absolutely do. I just do.
Let me ask you this. If it was Georgia, 13.5 over them, and they probably would be. I guarantee it'd be double figures, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you feel a lot more confident in picking Cincinnati?
No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't? Okay.
I really wouldn't. Wouldn't because Alabama defensively hasn't been that good this year, and I think Cincinnati's got a quarterback that's going to be able to move the ball on them, and they've got a good enough offense. Listen, it's kind of like not to go to horse racing all the time, but it's kind of like Alabama to me, and people are going to scoff at this that haven't really paid attention all year. Alabama to me is that horse that's decent and then jumps up and runs a huge race like they did when they beat Georgia. That was their huge race. But that's not really what they've been all year. What they were against Georgia was way better than what we've seen out of Alabama all year long.
There's no doubt. How
so
much
I'm going to go more of the whole body of work versus that one, race as in game that we're talking about here.
How much factors in that Alabama Georgia game the psychological advantage that Alabama has over Georgia?
Yeah.
And in the entire SEC for that matter. In a big game, in a game of that magnitude where another school in the SEC has to beat them. I think that's part of it. I do. And anyway, I have just bet against Alabama too much to think that they're going to lose.
I watched them too much this year. I saw them, Texas A&M, do whatever they want on them. I saw it. Auburn is terrible. They are awful. If the kid doesn't run out of bounds,
they beat them.
Auburn beats them. Not only they beat them,
talking about this,
they keep them out of the end zone if they don't. If you know what I mean, like they wouldn't even hardly scored. So I see 13.5, and I've watched it. I know Cincinnati had a lull of about 3 or 4 games where they didn't play well, but other than that, Cincinnati's been pretty darn good all year long.
They're solid.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this. I'm going to say this.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're a Crimson Tide diehard fan, everybody else in the country is rooting for Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Everybody is.
Yeah.
And everybody loves Cinderella.
End of the day, I think Cinderella, the clock will strike midnight as far as, fanhood and hoping who actually wins. But we're talking about betting here, and I'm just not laying 13.5 points with Alabama this year. I'm just not going to do it. Now, maybe we stay here at the national championship podcast and they beat them, up pretty badly, and I got a different tune. But I'm sorry, one game does not make a season. And for that, I'm going to go Cincinnati. I could be absolutely wrong. This could make me look really stupid, but I don't know. I just feel like I've watched this all year, and I feel like Alabama's going to win, but I don't think this is going to be an easy game for them.
Well, I think you're right. I think the whole key, that first half, they've got to be with them.
Yeah. Yeah. If they don't, they're in big trouble. So,
I mean, the other thing that worries me, and I know Cincinnati is very well coached and they are experienced, but do they down deep think they can beat them, especially if the first 2 times Alabama gets the ball, they go and score?
Well, yeah, there's obviously going to be doubts. There's going to be problems if that happens, for sure. I think it really helps that they went to South Bend and won this year.
Oh, I do too.
And I'm not saying Notre Dame is Alabama. They're not, but it's still Cincinnati going on the road to Notre Dame, who was undefeated at the time, and winning. I mean, that means something. As
we pointed out 100 times, going 13-0 is almost impossible.
Yeah.
Well, they're the only ones that did it.
Yep.
Right? And the pressure that they were under to go 13-0 was immense.
Yep.
And they came through it. And that's why you've got to give them a chance in this game.
Yep.
And they may just lay it all on the line. They may shoot the moon. They may just go for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think they'll try some things like that. I don't think they need to, though. Just play the game, and I think you'll be able to keep it close.
But in a certain situation, they may come up with a play that they really need.
Yeah.
Some sort of a little trick thing. I could see them doing that.
Yep, I can too. I think they're going to be in the game. We'll see what happens. I'm not picking them to win, but I am taking them plus the 13.5. All right, let's go to the next one, and this one to me is a really, really tough one. Georgia and Michigan, if they played this game a month ago before the last week of the season, you probably think, well, Georgia will beat the shit out of Michigan. Well, since then, Michigan beats Ohio State finally. They absolutely thrash Iowa. And then Georgia just got manhandled in the last 3 quarters of the SEC championship game. And the unbeatable Georgia, who wasn't going to allow any points this year, gives up 41 and gets smoked. How do they bounce back? Georgia's a 7.5 point favorite here. Listen, It's a lot. It's a lot of points for a team like Michigan that's coming off that impressive 2 games there to finish the season. What do you see here? Do you think Georgia rebounds?
Psyche is a strange thing.
Yep.
Here was a team that everybody said was unbeatable in this particular season. They were head and shoulders above anyone else. And they didn't just get beat. They got whipped. Can you come back from that? Can you get that swagger back? Can you get that confidence back? And lost in all this is you're playing a really good team.
Yep.
It's not being given enough credit, in my opinion. The key to this game is very simple. Michigan has got to be able to run the ball.
Yep.
They have to. They depend on their running game. They got 2 great running backs. You look at their stats, extremely balanced between the pass and the run. If they can run it, then they can throw play action against Georgia's secondary, and they can control the football. And I don't think Georgia's offense is that good. So to me, that's the whole key to the game. If you watch the first half and they got like 12 yards rushing at halftime, they're not going to win.
No.
They're just not. And Georgia controlled most teams' running games, obviously, all year long. I'm not as high on Georgia as I was. I don't know if they can win a big game. They don't. They very seldom win these games. What have they won? 1 playoff game?
Yep.
And that's Oklahoma gave it to them.
Yep.
They should have lost that game. Kirby Smart has not won a big game in this situation. I've not seen. I don't know how great he is. I don't know. I'm taking Michigan, no doubt. I have no doubt. That's how I feel on this game, and you feel it on the other one.
I know. I took Georgia. I am worried about it. I'm not confident in the Bulldogs here. I think the big key is what you said. I think Georgia will be able to stop the run. I think Georgia will put it on the Michigan quarterback to beat him, and I don't know if he's good enough to do that. So that's why I took Georgia here. Now, here's the thing you didn't touch on that I'm worried about as far as them covering the spread and winning the game outright.
Mm-hmm.
What's this Georgia offense going to do against this Michigan defense?
That's right.
That's the big key to me. Not that you were wrong. Michigan absolutely has to run it.
Yeah.
But I think the other key, can Georgia score? What do you think? It's probably going to take 24, 28 points for them to win. Can they do that on Michigan? I think it's questionable. I really do.
Yeah, I do too.
I think end of the day, I think Georgia's going to out-athlete them. I really just feel like they're going to out-athlete them here, and they're going to get the job done, and they're going to win. I took a -7.5. I like I said, I'm just not confident one way or the other. I could see it going the other way as far as the spread. As far as who wins and loses outright, I just think Georgia's going to be able to get the job done at the end. I could see it getting closer than that spread. I understand that, but I still think they're going to win. Do you think Michigan's going to win this thing outright, or are you just taking them +7.5?
Well, I'm definitely taking them +7.5.
Mm-hmm.
It will not surprise me at one bit if they beat them.
So this is an interesting point.
I just think they're sitting there going, we're underdogs to you? Hey, we'll play this all day long if you want to.
Oh, and that totally makes sense. This is a Big Ten champion that has been on quite a roll. The one game they lost, I don't know how they lost it. I mean, the game they lost to Michigan State, we leave the car going from the car to the walk to the OU game, and Michigan's up 14 points, and we turn on our phone and they lost. And it's like there were 6 minutes left. How'd they lose, you know?
Yeah, you realize that if they win that game, they're playing Cincinnati.
That's right. Yeah, because they're number one.
No, they're not, because the playoff committee would not want Alabama to play Georgia, so they'd screw that around. But anyway.
Well, they probably would have flip-flopped Cincinnati somewhere. They would have made it where it wasn't going to have a rematch.
Absolutely. They'd have made Georgia number 4.
This is interesting here that Dennis says, so his trick for this game, the team totals, Georgia is juiced to over 27.5, and Michigan is juiced under 17.5. And so what that's telling you is the book kind of believes that Georgia's going over and Michigan's going under. if that's the case, then Michigan covers the spread. Or excuse me, I'm sorry, Georgia covers the spread. That's not a bad angle. That's very interesting. I hadn't looked that deep into the team totals for this one. That's interesting. So we'll see if that comes to light. I think a lot of it is, I still think the national perception, and that's who's betting on the game, just believes Georgia's a little better than Michigan still.
I think it shows the SEC bias.
Yeah, it could be a little bit as well. Yeah. And again, the SEC's 0-4. They look, let's check the score now. It looks like they're going to go to 1-4. South Carolina leads 32-21. 3 minutes to go in the third quarter over North Carolina. So they might go to 1-4 here in another hour or so. So we'll see. But yeah, right now, SEC bias has not been kind to bettors so far.
I mean, this is going to be a great game. I've been high on Michigan all year. I'm the only one in the country.
Well, you know what? They're your team. They're your team.
They made me look smarter than I am.
Yeah.
I just think they're physical enough. I know they're not going to be afraid of them. They went through a pretty tough Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
They had to win some games, that were tough to win. I just think they're over the hump. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right on that. I do think they're over the hump. I agree that it's not, you don't have that worry like the Cincinnati thing is like, oh, do they actually think they belong? Michigan will show up and think they're going to win.
Oh, yeah. They're not Michigan. They're not afraid of Georgia.
There's not one Michigan fan out there thinking we can't win this.
Let me tell you guys, Georgia hasn't won shit compared to a lot of these other schools. That's the whole thing. They don't have the tradition that everybody thinks they do.
No.
What have they won? One national championship?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't very many.
No.
I'm not high on them. I was, but I saw them get dismantled. I saw them kind of quit. And I just don't know how good they are offensively if Michigan can score enough to beat them. We'll see. It's going to be a heck of a game.
Yeah, I think both of them are going to be good. I really do. I really do. I think both these games will be good. I just don't think that'll be a blowout. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I don't think that Cincinnati game is going to be a blowout. So,
I hope
Mark says SEC all about playoffs or bust for the top teams. There's no doubt. The SEC used to dominate bowl records, and they really haven't the last 2-3 years. So,
well, the other thing is, Aaron, there's 14 schools in the SEC, and 13 have made bowls.
Well, that's the other problem. Yeah. And like I said, there's so many more teams still left to play. We may sit here at the end of this and go, well, they went 9-4 in bowl games. So
well, that's true.
All right, Dennis. Jason says UNC has no pride. What the F? I thought they'd play a lot better, Jason. I know.
It's not over with, Jason. It's not over.
I've got it on over my shoulder here, and I'm just like, how'd they stay down? They're not playing very well in South Carolina.
How did they get behind? Aaron, I forgot it was even on. How did they get behind 18-0?
South Carolina just kind of was all over them.
Okay.
More than anything else. Shane Beamer is a really, really good coach.
Yeah,
you guys remember, I thought he would do a good job. Now, I'm happy with who we have at OU, but I thought he would do a good job if they chose him.
Yeah.
I think he had a lot of connections to those guys. Well, obviously he did, getting Austin Stogner and Spencer Rattler to transfer, and they'll be there next year. So, all right. That being said, let's get to what Dennis is terrified and petrified and mortified.
Oh.
And that is week 17 of the NFL.
Dennis is everything but dignified.
Yeah. He's not dignified. He is terrified, petrified, and mortified. Listen.
With good reason, Dennis.
We're not scared. We're not scared of these NFL games. All right. We'll kick it off. Atlanta and Buffalo to kick us off. It's one of these great point spreads of 14.5 that we never bet on. But let's talk about this game. The Falcons, believe it or not, they can certainly make the playoffs. If they win this game, they're going to have a great shot at it. But can they go to Buffalo and win? I don't think so. 14's a lot of points, though, as Mark points out. What do you think?
Yeah, 14's too much. They're not gonna beat Buffalo in Buffalo.
Yeah.
But 14.5, I don't know. That's pretty hard to do against anybody. So I guess I'd take the Falcons plus 14.5, but I think I'll find something else to throw my money away on than that.
Yeah. I can't go with betting Buffalo minus 14.5, but at the same time, I don't want to bet Atlanta either.
No.
So it's a skip game for me. It just
Yeah,
is.
definitely.
Just don't touch it. Buffalo should win this game.
Yeah.
They're on a roll, and they seem like they're headed in the right direction as far as the playoffs go, and with a shot to go to the Super Bowl for sure. This game will skip. It's the Giants. It's the Bears. I mean, honestly, this is just one of the worst games probably ever played in the NFL. That would be so bad. The Giants are so boring to watch. They're awful on offense. Just awful. All right, move on. This is a big one. Kansas City goes to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. The Chiefs are just a 5-point favorite, despite all the success recently. But listen, the Bengals have had great success the last couple of weeks as well. What do you think here?
I don't like anything here much. Okay, 5 points. Let's look at that. That's doable for the Chiefs.
Yeah,
that's definitely doable. 30 to 24, 31 to 24, 35 to 24. That sounds reasonable, wouldn't you say? 51 on the over-under. That's pretty normal there, too. I had, now it's up to 22.5 now on the team totals for Cincinnati. It was 21.5 when I got it.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I think they're going to go over 21.5.
I think the total goes over 51. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game. You look at Cincinnati, their offense has kind of found themselves the last couple of weeks. The Chiefs are starting to look like the old Chiefs offensively as well. I think it goes over 51. If I had to take a side, I'll take the Chiefs. I think they get it done.
Me too.
A lot of motivation for both teams. The Chiefs, they just can't slip up right now. They have to keep winning to keep that number one seed. And I think that's very, very, very important. So over the 51 for me. And Dennis says the only play I have is the under 51 because 18-mile-an-hour winds. I don't.
Well, there you go.
Call me when it's like 30 mile an hour. 18, come on. That's nothing. That's a light breeze. All right. Another huge, huge game. Listen, this is my team. The Dolphins, they've got a shot to make the playoffs. If they win here, I think they're going to make it. The Dolphins are 8-7. They go on the road to take on the Titans, 10-5. They're still, trying to chase Kansas City for that number one seed. I don't think it's likely, but they do have a tiebreaker if somehow they get tied. So Tennessee minus 3.5 here. God, they're not that good, but can the Dolphins go in there and win or at least cover?
Here's what worries me about the Dolphins. It's their offense. And anytime you can't score any more than they can, you're just throwing yourself out there to get beat. And 7 in a row, unbelievable. We've bragged on them. It's going to end sooner or later. I think the bubble's going to bust in this game. So I'm going to go Tennessee and the 3.5.
I got to take my Dolphins. I never gave up on them. I kept hanging in there. Give me Dolphins plus 3.5. Here's the deal. This Dolphins defense is definitely good. And this Dolphins offense is definitely suspect. This Tennessee offense is not very good. I think they keep it close. I don't know if they'll win the game. I think it's closer than 3.5. I think it's a field goal one way or the other. Give me the Dolphins. So we got a lot of comments coming here. A lot. Chiefs defense is suspect, but offense is clocking. Burrow can make it close. Yeah. Jason Thomas says the place will be crazy up in Cincinnati with a team that can be going to the playoffs. Cindy thinks North Dakota State can probably beat the Giants. I agree, Cindy. So yeah, a lot of hate for the Giants there. This one kind of bothers me. Dolphins have beat nobody on this run, and that's true.
This is true.
He'll take the Titans. My rebuttal, well, I agree, Jason. My rebuttal, what are the Titans really? Are they really that good?
They're not.
I think since they lost Derrick Henry, obviously I think they're better than some of the teams the Dolphins have been beating, but they ain't great. So we'll see what happens there. All right. Let's go to another huge game, the Raiders and the Colts. Sam Ehlinger will be the quarterback if Carson Wentz can't go for the Colts. That is now official. They did talk to Phillip Rivers. I guess he told him no. Colts still, despite that, a 6.5-point favorite over the Raiders here. It's in Indianapolis. What do you think about this one?
Well, we don't know, right?
Right.
We don't know who the quarterback's going to be.
Yeah.
If Ellinger's the quarterback, I got to take the Raiders and the points, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. Again, we've discussed this a lot. Wentz has not been with the team, hasn't practiced all week long. I hear he's in Zoom meetings, I guess, with them.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the same thing as getting out there and actually throwing the ball around with your teammates. So how good is he going to be? I mean, I think definitely if he was healthy and everything was normal, 6.5 is about right. I don't think the Raiders are very good. But if he doesn't play, don't you think Derek Carr might be able to score enough points to beat the Colts?
Yeah, I do. I'm worried about this game, and this is definitely a wait and see situation on the quarterback. If Wentz doesn't play, I think the Raiders win. I don't have any. Listen, I've watched Ellinger play quarterback. He is awful. He was awful at Texas. I don't believe what the media said. Kid's not that good, and he's not going to be able to beat the Raiders on Sunday. That being said, Wentz could play, and if he does, I think it's a whole different ballgame. So we'll see what happens.
The whole thing is how good are the Raiders up front? Can they stop Taylor? Because they're going to run. And you'd think a pro team, when you're playing a quarterback that you don't have a lot of fear of, could load up and stop the run.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And Jason says, tease the Colts down. They will run all over the Raiders. But like I said, if the quarterback can't throw, the Raiders could load the box and maybe at least slow that down. All things being equal, like I said, if Carson Wentz play, like Cindy said, this is a hold till Sunday morning. If he plays, Indianapolis will beat them. The Raiders are not that good.
No,
but
I agree.
We'll see what happens. They've been lucky getting backup quarterbacks. Maybe they get it one more time. Jaguars, Patriots. Patriots 16-point favorite. They just have to win. It doesn't matter if they win 3-0 or 30-0. We're not betting this one. I mean, Patriots win this one pretty easy, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's 16, but
another one, 13 points, another game. It's just not worth betting when these spreads are this big in the NFL. Buccaneers should go to New York and win fairly easily. Here's a big one. The Eagles, they're right there in the playoff mix. They've got a shot. They go on the road to take on Washington this week. They're a 3-point favorite. This game was pretty close the first time they played. Washington seems to be getting their players back. Will they be motivated now? That's the big question. What do you think about this one?
Boy, I could see an upset here.
Okay.
I really can. I was going to mention this last week, Aaron, because I did a little digging on you, because I think Jalen Hurts is the best of the three quarterbacks from Oklahoma.
Right now.
What a season he's put together. No one's talking about it. So I never bet against a team I'm rooting for. So, because I don't want to bet against them. But I could see an upset in this game. This is a tough game for Philly. Here's the deal. They gotta win this one. And then that means the Dallas game might not be a life and death thing to get them in the playoffs next week.
Yep.
So how much is the pressure going to get them? They're not that good. The Eagles are not that good, but they have been winning games they should, which is very, very complimentary to them. 3 is not that much. I think if they win, they definitely are going to cover. If they don't turn it over, I think they beat them. I don't think Washington's that good. So I'm going to take the Eagles.
I'm going to take Washington. I think
I knew you would. I knew you would. You don't like Jalen.
I just think we're seeing a little bit of an upset here. I really
You belong down in Oklahoma media. That's where you belong.
The Eagles aren't that good. I think Washington's a better team when they're healthy. I think Washington's the type of just the team that got hit at the wrong time and kind of ruined their season. So I think if they're healthy, they're going healthy as in they don't all have COVID. I think they're going to give them everything they want.
Okay, let me ask you this. If the Eagles go in there and win, are you going to give Jalen some credit?
No, I'll give Jalen credit even if they lose. He's had a hell of a year. He's been 15 times better than what I thought he would be.
Me too.
Yeah.
Remember when we were doing the over-unders?
Yeah.
And we both said we thought this might be one of the worst teams in the league. And look what they've done. I mean, way above what we thought was going to happen.
No, listen, I like I said, even if they lose the last two games, they go 8-9. That's 5 games better than what I thought they would be.
Me too. Me too.
And they haven't done him any favors. They traded away Ertz.
No.
That's a guy that could be helping them right now.
Definitely.
So, I don't know. I just think Washington football team, though, I just think they're better. Listen, the Eagles aren't any good. I really don't think they are. And I think they'll finally get beat this week. But we'll see. Mark asked about the Bucs and Brady and constantly throwing it 45 to 50 times. Yeah, we are concerned. We actually mentioned that 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's like, they got to get a running game. This guy can't throw it 100 times a game every game. So,
and I think he's wearing down a little bit. I really do.
Yeah.
And now Fournette's hurt. I don't know if he's going to play this week. He wouldn't if I was the coach, I don't think.
Yeah.
And another thing, guys on the Tampa Bay, they got COVID problems.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing you might look at on that line. I mean, I think they're going to win, but that might affect them a little bit.
Yeah. Isaac says the Eagles are getting beat too.
Oh, Isaac, you're crazy.
Jason likes Washington football team. See, Isaac, Jason, and I were on the same page. And when we all three agree, I don't think we've ever lost. So I think that's a lockdown for the football.
Yeah, it is. It is. I feel better about my bet now.
Dennis says Ricky had real quick. Papa Dude has here's the deal. You're right.
Yeah, that's true. I'll go along with that.
Oh, Jason is really salty that North Carolina is just getting railed by South Carolina.
I didn't blame you, Jason. I thought they'd win that game.
Oh, no. All right, let's move on. I don't know. Let's move on to the Rams and the Ravens. Must win for the Ravens. Must win for the Rams if they want to try to hold, well, maybe not hold on to the division, but try to get that number 1 seed if the Packers slip up a little bit. They're going to have to slip up a lot, but still, the Rams still in it. They're a 3.5-point favorite here. I think the Rams cover this. It sounds like Lamar's going to play, though, so where are you leaning in this one?
Oh, God. This is it for the Ravens, right?
Yep.
Pretty much.
They have to win.
Yeah, they have to win. So are they going to get it together and play the game of their lives? Or are they? I mean, they could. This is the NFL. There's not a huge difference between the teams.
No.
Second straight week, the Rams have had to come across the country to play. So, and they won 3 in a row, all 3 tough games. Will that affect them? What do you think?
No, I don't think it will.
It could. That's 2 weeks of travel. They had 2 tough division games that they had to win.
Yeah.
Will they let down a little? I don't know. So that worries me. That's my only worry about the Rams. Will they let down a little bit? Are they tired? Whatever. There's really no excuse. But anyway, that's what I've got. And then the fact that the Ravens may step up, play the game of their life. But I'm going to go with the Rams. I think they're going to cover this.
Yeah, I do too. I think the Ravens are kind of done. I think they've kind of packed in. I do think it's interesting to see how Lamar does and if he can come back and play well. To me, if that guy's got a banged up ankle, I think it really takes away what he does best. And that's no knock on him. That's just the fact of it all. So
yeah, that's his threat right there. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep. All right. Let's move on to the afternoon games. Chargers, Broncos. Chargers 6.5-point favorite. They are a joke. Will they actually win a game they should here? Will they bounce back and beat them? They should. Listen, I'm going to say this. If they don't beat Denver by double digits, it's a bad game for them.
Well, they're not going to. Okay.
Okay.
I'll say so. No, I don't. I don't. I don't know if they even win. I don't know. I'm going to take the what have I got here? I wrote down some. 45.5. No, it's 46 now. I'm going to go under.
Under?
I'm going to take the under on that because I don't think Denver's going to score much. Yeah. They don't. Let's say they get 17, and then they'd have to get what? 30, again, at 31, 30. No, 31. I don't think they're going to do it. So I'm going to take the under on the 46. I think they're going to win, but you know me, I'm not betting the Chargers ever again.
How can I argue with that? I mean, but
Who's going to show up? You don't know.
Mark says Broncos is Spanish for no offense.
That's true. And is this Los Angeles coach going to go for it on 4th and 8 at his 43-yard line? I don't know.
If the Chargers don't cover this,
well, it's true, but
they are Denver. No offense, if you guys like Denver, they're so bad on offense.
They are.
And like Jason says, agree about better than the Chargers, though. It's the Chargers.
No, you can't. And here's the thing. I don't know what Los Angeles coach will do. He does the stupidest things. He may have a feeling over there. It's 4th and 8, and the ball's on their own 43. I think I'm going to go for it. I got a feeling.
Well, here's what I can guarantee you. What you just said will 100% not happen. There is no feeling. He's a robot. That honest to God, that's why they are where they are. He's a robot. There is no feelings.
Speaking of robots, remind me of something when we're done.
Okay. All right, we'll do that. All right, Texans and 49ers. We're not covering that one. 49ers 12.5-point favorite. Texans are coming off that big win over the Chargers. Surely they're not going to go on the road to beat the 49ers. This is a massive game for both teams. As far as Cowboys' chances to try to get the number 1 seed, and the Cardinals, well, listen, if the Cardinals win this game and the Rams lose, the Cardinals are back in the division, being first in the division. I don't give the Cardinals any chance to win this game. Dallas just a 6-point favorite. I'm taking Dallas all day long. What do you think about this one?
I agree totally. I'm done with the Cardinals. I think Dallas will be very motivated to play and keep the heat on Green Bay for that number 1 seed. I'm going Dallas by maybe 10.
I think they'll win by 20.
They
could. I'm going to take Dallas big, unless Isaac agrees too. I think maybe they don't win by 20, but I think they're going to win this game. I don't know. Cardinals seem kind of done to me. So, all right, we'll move on. Panthers and the Saints. We'll talk about it because, the Saints should win here.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of had a tendency to lose games they shouldn't all year, but 6.5-point favorite. The Panthers seemingly look to be done. Do the Saints just take care of business, or are we going to be sitting here on Monday going, wow, I can't believe the Saints lost again?
I'm assuming they have their guys back.
I think, they're going to have the quarterback back.
Okay. Yeah, I think they're going to win, but I think it's going to be like 16-10. I don't think it'll be very high scoring at all. I'm going to take the under 38, and that's a low total.
New Orleans is just a team I just haven't figured out all year. They've just been so weird. And as Jason said real quick, he said, sell high, buy low. Dallas always screws up these kind of games. He'll take a shot.
True.
That's true. Dennis says,
so does Arizona. So does Arizona, Jason.
Listen, if Book is in play, Panthers will not take us. So we'll see. Yeah, I think the quarterback's back this week. So
with the new COVID rules and all that, or did they not have COVID? Didn't one of them had COVID? One of them.
Yeah.
With the new rules, they should be ready to play by.
Yeah. Jason said he wouldn't bet Panthers Saints with Samich's money. Oh, I would with his.
Oh, I would.
Seattle and the Lions. I wouldn't bet this game with Magic's money.
No.
I'm not covering that. Mm-mm. All right. Monday Night Football. Talk about teams that are just hard to explain. The Vikings go on the road to take on the Packers. The Vikings were one of the 3 teams that beat the Packers this year. They did it in Minnesota. Green Bay 7-point favorite. Can the Vikings, keep a pulse, I guess, or will the Green Bay take care of them?
Check the temperature, 4 degrees.
4 degrees.
I'm going under 46.5. That's what I'm going to take.
Under 46.5. Okay. I like that. I think the Packers win. I think this is kind of a get right game for the Packers a little bit. I know they've winning, but they've kind of been close. Division rival, can knock them off. Keep the number 1 seed going. I like the Packers minus the 7. And as Magic always reminds us, good teams win, right. Great teams cover. Let's see. I didn't even look. Oh, the Lions plus 7.
I'm going Lions.
Go Lions. All right.
By the way, what will Aaron Rodgers' toe going to do in this cold?
Yeah, minus 12, the wind chill, Jason says. Does the extreme cold influence the total? 3 degrees at kickoff. Like I said, wind chill minus 12.
You know what's going to happen? He's not going to be able to feel his big toe because he's going to have frostbite.
Exactly. Yeah, he may have to chop the toe off officially after this game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it makes too much. It's sometimes they tend to have lower scoring games in those kind of situations. So maybe that does influence a bit, and maybe that's why Papa Dude went under.
That's why I did it. It's hard to catch a football when your hands is frozen,
Yeah.
And the wind chill here, Jason said -12 is the wind chill, so that means the wind is going to be blowing.
Yeah.
There is no snow in the forecast, I heard, though. So better them than me. How about that?
Yeah, I totally agree. Breaking news from the state of Arkansas. The Arkansas Gaming Commission unanimously approved the proposed rules for mobile sports betting. So mobile sports betting coming to the state of Arkansas soon. So that's good news for some of you that live in Arkansas. So big news on that front from the sports betting aspect of it. And then the Monday night game, I don't want to talk about that. We'll save that one.
Save that one.
We'll save that one for Monday night.
Yes.
I don't really want to talk about that one. All right. I was supposed to remind you of something here. That's the games, by the way. I was supposed to remind you. What was I supposed to remind you of?
Well, I'm going to do a little rant here.
Okay.
Anyway. A while ago, Sandy had TV on, and they were doing the news. Did you know that they now have a semi truck that can drive itself?
Really?
Yes. On Interstate 80, I believe they said, and that's in California.
Uh-huh.
I may have that wrong. Magic may know if he's listening. I don't think he is. But anyway, this truck, no, I don't think it was on 80. I don't remember. But anyway, it's in California. It was, I think, between LA and San Diego.
Okay.
A semi drove 80 miles. That's where I'm getting the 80. Drove 80 miles without a driver.
Wow.
Yeah, without a driver. And some of the people in the car saw this no driver in this semi.
Right.
Now I'm going to tell you, if we get to the point where we have semis driving themselves by a computer or whatever it is, I'm not driving on the interstate ever again. This is not happening. It's not. I am not going to trust a computer when you have however much a damn semi weighs coming right at me and somebody's directing that damn thing. No, it's not happening.
You're not
I saw that, and it's true. And it leads me, are we going to get to the point where we don't have to do anything anymore? It's all going to be done for us? Are we getting to that point? I like to drive. I feel like I'm in control of something when I'm driving.
Yeah.
We've heard about cars that are going to drive themselves, and I think all you have to do is sit there. I don't like that. I like to kind of make a decision. I like cruise control. I like that.
That's interesting. I have not heard this. So
I saw it. I was sitting there watching it.
You're sure this is a reputable place that's reporting this?
It was on KY3.
Okay, well, probably is accurate then.
Yeah, I'm thinking, Sandy, was it real? Huh?
Yes, no, that was completely real. They've logged 500 miles.
Logged 500 miles.
Okay.
It has a camera in the inside of that cabin, and there is not a person. They're controlling it from a computer elsewhere.
Controlling it from a computer elsewhere.
Truck, and this is going to get rid of all the issues we have with our supply and demand. They're planning to get rid of the truck drivers.
Don't have to have truck drivers, and that will help the supply issue we have.
Okay, so chiming in, Betty Ann says they have driverless delivery trucks for Walmart in Bentonville.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to quit driving.
So there is a chance you have been driving amongst these robots.
Son of a bitch. I can't drive on the damn interstate anymore.
If there's a glitch in the system and they wreck, who would you sue? And Jason says, who wins a lawsuit when a car driving by itself crashes with a semi driving by itself?
I'm telling you. Now, listen. and I'm just as guilty as anybody. We're almost to the point now where we can't think for ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And I'm guilty too.
Yeah.
We can't figure anything out ourselves.
Right.
We are to the point where we don't even go shop anymore. They bring it to us.
I like that.
Well, you would.
I like it.
See, I think that's bullshit too. We can't do anything. I mean, I spend, and I'm embarrassed by how much time I spend on this computer, but it is part of my job.
Yeah.
So I blame that. But I'm on the computer all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm embarrassed how much time I'm on a cell phone.
Yeah.
It just embarrasses me to think that I carry this damn thing around all the time.
Yeah.
All you got to do is Google something. You can't figure anything out yourself anymore. You just Google it. I get so mad at Sandy. Now, it's the truth, and she'll tell you. She's standing right here. Don't hit me. But she's standing right here. And if it wasn't for GPS,
Yeah.
that woman couldn't get anywhere. You couldn't get anywhere.
GPS is a wonderful
And
thing.
she pisses me off because I know I'm weird. And each week we bring out more of my weirdness. But I like to just get out on country roads where I'm not at, get lost on purpose, and try to figure out how to get back home without using the GPS.
Now,
And she gets so damn mad. What?
because
Well, you're one of about one that still likes to do that. So there is that.
Now wait,
Jason,
go ahead.
Jason says, how long will it take Papa Dude to get to the OU game next year when he has to take the back roads?
Hey, I know every damn back road there is to OU. It will take a little longer. But if I'm starting to meet driverless semi trucks on the Will Rogers Turnpike and the Turner Turnpike where it's bumper to bumper,
Yeah.
I ain't driving on that damn road. I'm not. I'm not very long for this world anyway,
Yeah.
but I want to go as long as I can. And now GPS is great when you're in a city.
Yeah.
And you're looking for an exit and you don't know exactly where it is, and you Google it and they tell you what exit it is. Then you can plan on how, get over in the right lane and all that. I like that. I like
Cindy
it.
still doesn't have a cell phone. Gosh.
Cindy, I guess this is a woman. You're after a woman. You're after my heart.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's trade lives. That would be great. Not to have that.
Mandy, I didn't mean that. But
All right.
I mean, I don't know.
All right, we're gonna
I'm
get
worried.
off here.
I'm worried about us.
We'll see what happens with the driverless semis. We'll
Isn't that
report on
something?
on-
Can you
on
believe
Monday.
that?
What's that?
Can you believe that?
Yeah, absolutely.
You
Yeah.
can believe a driverless semi.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's something that's going to happen and happen a lot. So I think driverless cars that's a thing that's happening now. So
Yeah, I know, but I don't want one.
no, well,
How about these electric cars? What do you think about that?
I think that more and more that's definitely going to happen more and more. I think it's fine. I don't.
You don't? You're going to stop every so often and charge up your freaking car?
Do you stop to get gas in your freaking car?
Not for that long.
It's very, very similar, and like I said, they'll improve and improve by the time.
What's the oil business going to do?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't. That you're asking me a question I don't know the answer to. I don't know what they'll do.
Well, fortunately, I'm not going to be around much longer to worry about this. But
Yeah,
this driverless cars. Oh man, I can't handle that.
yeah. I think electric cars, driverless cars, all that stuff. That's we'll keep going in that direction. I just think that's what's going to happen. So,
How would you like,
yeah,
how would
dude,
you
you
like
talk
to be in-
technology
how would you
coming
like to
up
be in
next.
the map business?
Well, the map business, I think, is dead. So,
There's nothing I like better than sitting and looking at a map.
yeah. I know. That's not for me. I like the
Way past my time.
I had to go pay my personal property taxes in the Osho today, which is about 15 minutes away. I didn't know where the courthouse was. You know what I did? I Googled Newton County Courthouse, and it took me right to it.
Oh boy.
All right, we're going to get off here for today. Mark says, great show. Keep it up. Thank you, Mark. And yeah, good luck everybody playing the bowl games. It's going to be a fun New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and then obviously Sunday. So
enjoy the games. This is what it's all about.
Yeah, should be a great 3 days. Hopefully, we cash some winners here. Tough games, but they're going to be entertaining games. And yeah, sorry if you bet North Carolina today. That's not going well for you. But all right, guys, we're ready enough here. Magic Mike show coming up next around 5:30 Eastern. And then the Blinkers Off will be back on its normal time today, a little bit after that. Probably about 7 p.m. Eastern is what I'm hearing for Blinkers Off. So check all that out, guys, and we'll see you right back here for Dudes Who Bet Sports on Monday. What is up, everybody, and welcome to the first ever Dudes Who Bet Sports.
So you want to bet sports, but you need some advice on how to cash in big at a heck of a price. Well, if you want enough money to line your shorts, then you're in the right place. This is Dudes Who Bet Sports. Dudes Who Bet Sports, it's your favorite show. Dudes Who Bet Sports, where degenerates go. Dudes Who Bet Sports, time to change your approach with Aaron Halterman and his father, the coach. Let's ride.
Well, the Associated Press